Hello, my name is Sabrina Schembri. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over what LEED is, as well as what the U.S. Green Building Council is, and what they do. And I'm also going to discuss sustainability and how LEED and the U.S. Green Building Council actually contribute to sustainable building. So first off, I'm going to talk a little bit about sustainability and sustainable building itself. Sustainable building is essentially building in a way that's less wasteful. And this has to do with the materials and the resources, but also it has to do with building in a way that uses as little energy as possible, like as much energy as you would need to complete the project. The whole point of sustainability is to use the amount of resources necessary for a project rather than overusing materials and resources and wasting them and not considering the impact that actually has on the future. We can't just go wasting these non-renewable resources because then future generations aren't going to have them, and that in itself is problematic. So the construction process actually takes a lot of resources and energy and causes pollution. So to put that into perspective, in 2008, construction and operation of buildings in the US accounted for more than a third of the country's total energy use and the consumption of more than 2/3 of its electricity, 30% of its raw materials, a quarter of its harvested wood, and 12% of its fresh water. So think about that. These resources are precious and need to be used wisely, and we use a lot when it comes to construction. So there are different ways that you can consider sustainability when you're designing a building. One way is to design buildings that are a reasonable size for their purpose, rather than wasting space and wasting materials that you don't need, and reducing building energy usage and using renewable resources like sunlight and wind as energy sources to reduce the depletion of fossil fuels. So these factors are where LEED and the U.S. Green Building Council come in. The U.S. Green Building Council actually developed the LEED rating system, and they are basically a nonprofit that was founded in 1993 by Mike Italiano, David Gottfried, and Rick Fedrizzi. I hope I didn't butcher their names, but this council promotes sustainability and sustainable building, and they were the ones who created this kind of standard for environmentally conscious design. So LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. And as I said, it is a green building rating system that is used all over the world to rate the sustainability of buildings. LEED, the rating system, has categories including indoor environmental quality, materials and resources, energy and atmosphere, water efficiency, and sustainable sites. There are also bonus points that can be awarded for innovation, design, and regionalization, depending on the project. And based on how many points a building racks up in the aforementioned categories, the building can either be certified silver, gold, or platinum. To determine the sustainability of a building product, assessment of the greenness of the product over its entire life must be obtained. And the categories that go into that, the environmental impact categories, include human health, global warming, outdoor air pollutants, water intake, smog, indoor air quality, and several more. Now, I just want to pinpoint and explain an example of one of the LEED categories in some more detail. So I'm going to talk about the materials and resources category. There's a prereq and a credit in this category. The prerequisite is storage and collection of materials and resources. I'm sorry. Storage and collection of recyclables, and the credit is the building life cycle impact reduction. So to go a little bit further, the materials and resources category is aimed at the sustainability of the life cycle of the building as a whole, and it has to do with optimizing design as well as reusing materials. The prereq that I mentioned before is reducing waste generated by the occupants of the building that is disposed of in landfills. And you can actually achieve that prereq by creating separate locations for collection and storage areas and provide access to these areas for the building's occupants as well as the waste haulers that come pick it up. The credit is to optimize environmental performance of materials, reuse products and materials. And you can achieve this credit by, for example, renovating an abandoned building and maintaining at least 50% of the existing structure, the enclosure, and interior structural elements. This is, of course, more sustainable than starting a build completely from scratch because it uses less materials and you're doing exactly what the credit says. You're reusing products and materials to optimize the performance of them. So, in summary, I discussed what sustainability is and some factors that contribute to sustainable building. I defined and discussed LEED, which is a rating system used globally, developed by the US Green Building Council. And I also talked about some of the categories of the LEED rating system and what aspects a building can have to gain points towards their LEED certification. So thank you for watching.